Are you busy all day and you still feel that you didn't get anything done or anything real done? Chances are that you are making one of these 5 classical mistakes. The very first one is you overstuff your to-do list. When you have too many tasks on your to-do list, one of two things is going to happen. The first one, you paralyze. So you end up procrastinating because it's too much for your brain. You just have too many things and your brain thinks it's going to be painful. So you basically paralyze and you end up not doing anything. And then the second option is you end up choosing poorly because you have so many things on your list that your brain is going to lead you to what is easier. And we know that not necessarily whatever is easier is going to be the right thing to do, because your brain is simply trying to escape pain. Your brain doesn't want to do those difficult tasks. So that very first classic mistake is overstuffing your to-do list. The second one is multitasking. Yes, I am going to talk about multitasking, and I was one of them. I was one of those people who would multitask all the time and be proud of it, actually. Switching from task to task every 3 minutes, it gave me a sense of, okay, I can't accomplish everything, I can't do everything. But multitasking, the majority of the times, is very unproductive. Because when you do this, you have no depth of work. And truly, if you want to get things done, the important things done, you need to be focused and you need to allow yourself depth of work. You need to do deep and focused work. And then you have to realize when you're multitasking, it takes you much longer to finish a single task because you're jumping from one to another. And this spends so much more energy from your brain that you end up being in a burnout situation much quicker. And also what happens, you end up not finishing a bunch of tasks because you're just jumping too much all around. And you know why it's important to finish a task? Because every time you finish a task, not only because finishing a task is what you began with in the first place, doing the task because you want to finish the task, right? But one of the most important things that you have when you finish a task is that your brain releases dopamine, which is the continuation hormone. It's also the hormone of pleasure. Obviously, you've seen some of my videos, but it's the hormone that it's going to give you the will to continue. So every time that you have even a small victory, a small task is completed, your brain is going to release dopamine, which will fuel your next activities. That's why it's important to focus on a task and complete it, so you have that cycle of dopamine being generated from your brain to get you to the next task. The number 3 mistake is no prioritization. And this relates a little bit to the point number 1, because when you have too many tasks, just the time alone that is going to take you to create a priority list out of that huge task list or that huge to-do list, just that time alone is going to scare you and it's going to paralyze you. So obviously, the more concise you are with your task list, the easier it's going to be for you to prioritize. And the next question is, how do I prioritize it, Rod? Well, it's no secret, but let me tell you how to prioritize. If you have time-sensitive tasks that you gotta do it today, there's a deadline, obviously those tasks should be priority. But if you don't have such a thing this week or today, how do you prioritize? Well, I like to prioritize my tasks by impact. How much impact that task will produce when completed compared to my goals, compared to my objectives, all the things, my projects, all the things that I have to do. So I prioritize by impact. The number 4 mistake is lack of boundaries. Yes, at saying yes to everything, okay? And not saying no enough, obviously. This happens when you allow too many interruptions. You're basically allowing other people to penetrate your schedule, your time, your precious time. You're allowing people to penetrate and take it and make dominion out of your time. You're allowing that distraction. And once they take your time, they can do whatever they want with it. And it's tough because, sometimes we like to be people pleaser. We like to say yes because we want to please people. But once they take your time, now they are your priority, not yourself, not your tasks. And yes, you're going to be busy, but you're going to be busy with other people's tasks, not your own. You're going to drift away from your objectives, from your list of tasks, and you're going to be completing tasks for other people. And I always say that communication is key for healthy boundaries. Obviously, you're not going to just say no to everybody. You have to communicate, When you are doing something important, something that has a big impact in your list, in your results, and you get interrupted or someone asks you for a favor, the right thing to do is communicate your priorities. So just tell that person, listen, I'm working on something really important here, but as soon as I'm done, I will definitely assist you. I'll definitely help you with your task. So a clear communication is going to avoid a lot of conflicts that you might have when trying to set up boundaries. So remember, be courteous, be polite when communicating your priorities, and the response is going to be more positive. And then finally, the number 5 mistake is leaving crumbs behind. What does that mean, Rod? Well, I love talking about this subject because every week when you start your week, you should have, as a good time manager, a good prioritizer, you should have your to-do list, your tasks, right? But in a perfect world, we start a week with a quote-unquote perfect productivity. We start by listing the things that we're gonna do, and in our head, our future self is going to complete every single task. Now, tell me, does this happen every week? No, it doesn't happen to me, and I am a master of time, a master in productivity. So, what do? You have to acknowledge that doesn't happen. You don't complete every single task every single week that you schedule. So the problem is people don't do what I call the look back in your task. That's why I said pick up the crumbs, the pieces that are left over. So for every task that you did not complete, which is normal, don't be too hard on yourself. It's normal when you don't complete a task, okay? What is not okay is for you to leave that task unfinished and move on with your week next week, and you leave that task that wasn't done. So the look back or picking up the pieces is you look back in your week. Usually you do that on a Friday or on a Saturday. Look back in your week. Take a look at the tasks that you set out for that week, and are they done? If they are not done, are they 80% complete? Are they 90% complete? Okay, so pick up the leftovers, move it to the next productive week. Because leaving unfinished tasks is not only about productivity or lack of productivity. It's also about sense of self, sense of identity. You want to be that type of person who completes tasks. You want to tell yourself, I am the type of person that once I start a task, I finish a task. That's the identity that you want to build in yourself, for your productivity. Okay, so it's important for you to pick up the pieces, move them to the next week or the next productive day, and get it done. Now I want you to tell me, which of these 5 mistakes are you making? I want you to share in the comments down below, which of these are you making? If you recognize any of them, be vulnerable and make the change. And before you go, subscribe to the channel. You're going to receive recommendations from my channel. You're going to be able to help this channel grow more and more. And I appreciate you. I hope you have an amazing and blessed week, and I'll see you on our next video.